Multiplying polynomials. First, we'll look at a monomial times a monomial. So one term times one term, and you will say, well, we just did this in exponent laws, and you're exactly right. We are just going to use exponent laws. We have like bases here straight across, so we will keep the base and add the exponents. For your y's, don't forget to add your 1. So to multiply monomials, you are just going to use exponent laws. Next, we'll do a monomial times a polynomial, and you're just going to distribute. You're used to distributing. The only thing that's different for us is you have a variable out here, so you have to be a little careful with that. So we're going to have 3 multiplications. So we'll do the numbers first. 3 times 4 is 12, and we have x squared times x squared. You will keep the base and add for your variables. So gives us x to the 4th. Then we'll do 3x squared times 5x. We'll do the numbers. 3 times 5 is 15. It is a positive 15. X squared times x. Remember, this has a 1, so that will be x cubed. And last, 3x squared times negative 1 will be a minus 3x squared. Take your parentheses off. We have one more problem that is a monomial times a polynomial. It just has more variables to distribute, so you're going to be careful. We will have 2 multiplications. First, our numbers, negative 3 times 5 will give us a negative 15. For the a's, a squared times a will give us a cubed. B times b to the 4th will give us b to the 5th. Then our next term, negative 3 times negative 9 will give us positive 27. For the a's, a squared times a squared is a to the 4th. B times b cubed, don't forget your 1, this will give us b to the 4th. Next, we have a binomial times a binomial. You could just distribute twice, or you can use what we call the FOIL method. F is first, so multiply the first terms. Outside, inside, and last. Right, so the first term in each one is 2x times 3x will be 6. For your x times x, remember to add the exponents, 6x squared. And then you're going to multiply the ones on the outside edge. Right, so 2x times 2 is 4x. Inside, so the innermost terms, 1 from each set of parentheses. Negative 5 times 3x will be negative 15x. And the last terms are the last terms in each set of parentheses. Negative 5 times 2 is a negative 10. Your parentheses comes off. You're done multiplying. And often you get like terms from your outside and inside terms. So these two can combine. You work on the coefficients. You've switched gears back to adding and subtracting. So they are different signs. You're going to subtract. Take the sign of the larger. Our next problem is also multiplying 2 binomials. These just have more exponents on there, but it will be a FOIL problem. So we will multiply our first terms, x squared times x squared. Remember, when you multiply variables, the exponents add. Right, outside edge, this will be 5 x squared y squared. Right, inside, this will be minus 6 x squared y squared. I usually just keep my variables in alphabetical order so that it's easy to see like ones. And last, I'll have a minus 30 on the numbers, and I will have y to the 4th. All right, now we look to see if any will combine. The x squared y squared terms combine. So my x to the 4th stays. These are different signs, so subtract sign of the larger. So negative 1 x squared y squared minus 30 y to the 4th. Let's look at our next problem. Also a binomial times a binomial. And so we will go ahead with FOIL. So we have our first terms. X times x is x squared. Outside minus 8x. Inside plus 8x. And last minus 64. And notice you have terms that will cancel. Minus 8x and plus 8x will cancel to leave you x squared minus 64. We'll look at one more. And so we'll do first terms. 3x times 3x will give us 9x squared. Outside, 3x times negative 5 will be a minus 15x. Inside, plus 15x. And last, minus 25. And notice again we have one where our outside and inside are going to cancel. This is a special product called the difference of two squares. And the x plus a and the x minus a are what we call conjugates. They're the same pieces with the opposite sign in the middle. And when you multiply them, they will always cancel out that outside and inside term. For our next problem, we are squaring a binomial. I would just write it twice and do FOIL. So it's 2 copies of the whole thing. And then you would see it to do the FOIL, which will give us 4x squared on the first terms. Outside, minus 10x. Inside, minus 10x. And last, plus 25. Now, what's your signs? These do not cancel. They're going to add together. So, 4x squared minus 20x plus 25. You have to be careful on these problems. Don't think that you're allowed to just take the 2 down with each term. You're not with the sign in between. It has to be a product to take that down. So make 2 copies instead. Here's another problem where we are squaring a binomial. So we will write it twice and do FOIL. So x cubed minus 5 times x cubed minus 5. So we'll have to be a little careful here. We're not used to the x cubes. So our first term, you're going to add the exponents. Will give us x to the 6th. Outside, minus 5x cubed. Inside, minus 5x cubed. And last, plus 25. And these will add together. So we have x to the 6th minus 10x cubed plus 25. Next, we have a problem that is longer than a FOIL problem. This one is a binomial times a trinomial. So we have to make sure every term over here gets multiplied by every term over here. We'll have 6 multiplications altogether. There are 2 techniques. One is to distribute twice. The other is a vertical method. So first let's look at distributing twice. So if we distribute twice, we take the 2x times everything in the second set of parentheses. So 2x times 3x squared will give us 6x cubed. 2x times minus 4x will give us minus 8x squared. 2x times negative 2 will give us a minus 4x. All right, we're done with the 2x. Now we'll switch and distribute the 5 to the second set of parentheses. So 5 times 3x squared gives us 15x squared. 5 times minus 4x is a minus 20x. 5 times minus 2 is a minus 10. Parentheses are off, and now you're going to look for like terms. The x cubed is our only x cubed. For x squared, these two are like. You're working just with the coefficients. Different signs. Subtract, sign of the larger. So we get a positive 7x squared. The x terms, they are like signs. Add, keep the sign. And our constant goes last. going to show you the same problem with the other techniques so you have a choice. We will do a vertical style, and it's like old arithmetic. You're going to put the longer one on top. So 3x squared minus 4x minus 2, the shorter one underneath, aligning to the right. So 2x plus 5. We will take 5 times everything on top. So 5 times negative 2 will be negative 10. 5 times negative 4x, negative 20x. 5 times 3x squared will be 15x squared. And now we switch and take 2x times everything on top. So 2x times a negative 2 will be a negative 4x. When we write it down, we put it in the like column. So put it in the x column. 2x times negative 4x will be negative 8x squared. Put it in the x squared column. And 2x times 3x squared will give you 6x cubed. You need a new column. You don't have an x cubed column. And this technique just lines up the like terms. So now you combine those. And you have different signs here. So that's going to give you 7x squared. And we should have the same answer. I'm going to do one more problem that is a binomial times a trinomial. And I'm going to choose just to distribute twice. So I'm going to take the 2x times everything in the second set of parentheses. Will give me 6x cubed. 2x times 2x will give me 4x squared. 2x times minus 8 minus 16x. And then I'm going to switch and take the minus 7 times each one. So I get minus 21x squared minus 14x plus 56. Now my multiplying's done. I'm going to combine like terms. So my x cubed term, there's nothing else like it. So I'll keep it. X squared terms, these two can go together. They are different signs. So they're going to subtract sign of the larger. Will give us 17. You keep the variable exactly like it is. Next we'll do x terms. These are like signs. So we're going to add, keep the sign. And last is our constant. Next I have a trinomial squared. So a trinomial times a trinomial. I would first go with that. Make 2 copies. And you have a choice here. You can distribute 3 times, so each of the terms in the first one times each of the terms in the second one. Or we could work vertically. I think I'm going to choose this time to work vertically because we're going to have 9 multiplications and it will line up like terms. So I'm going to scoot over a little bit in case I have some extra ones I need to go on that end. So 6x squared minus 7x minus 3 times 6x squared minus 7x minus 3. So we're going to multiply everything on top by the negative 3 or the minus 3. So it will give me a positive 9. Will give me a positive 21x, a negative 18x squared. Then we will switch to the minus 7x times each one on top. So times minus 3 will give us positive 21x. This will give us a positive 49x squared. And this will give us a negative 42x cubed, which needs a new column. Right, then I'm going to the 6x squared. So 6x squared times negative 3 will give me negative 18x squared. 6x squared times negative 7x will give me negative 42x cubed. And 6x squared times 6x squared will give me 36x to the 4th. And then we'll combine like terms. So we have our 9. These are like signs, so they're going to add, keep the sign. One copy of your variable. This one is going to take me a second. 18 and 18 is 36, so I have 49 minus 36 will be 13. And my larger sign would have been the positive. So I have 13x squared. These are like signs, so they're going to add 84x cubed, and there's nothing to go with the x to the 4th.